You know, these are really sad times when a Lego movie is better than a $250 million film from last year that tried to be a masterpiece. Ain't that some shit? The Lego Batman movie brings back Will Arnett as Batman from the Lego movie and is the best DC movie in 9 years. It basically follows Batman as he's trying to struggle with the idea of being alone, that he has no family, and there's also conflict with the Joker about how they need each other and how the Joker considers himself to be Batman's greatest enemy. So Batman adopts this young boy named Robin by pure accident, and then the two of them team up with the new police commissioner to try and stop another evil plan by the Joker. Now this is a spin-off of 2014's The Lego Movie, which going into this, I expected it to be a piece of shit, but was so surprised at not how funny it was, but how clever it was. And I was so pissed off when this did not get an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature, because it was the best animated movie of that year. Mainly because there was no Pixar movie that year. But anyway, enough ranting about that. We have this spin-off that is based off of Will Arnett's Batman, which I was a little bit skeptical on because Will Arnett's Batman really did work well as a side character that was pretty much poking fun of Batman in general, but I wasn't too sure of how this would work as a full-length feature film. My biggest worry is that it was just going to be like an hour and a half of nothing but Batman jokes, just back and forth, jokes that we've already seen on the internet with stuff like how it should have ended. However, to my surprise again, this movie was actually pretty damn good. Like I said, it's the best DC movie in 9 years, which is rather sad when you think about that. One of the things that definitely works in this movie is the voice acting. Will Arnett is still really good as Batman. He really has that distinct voice that I'm actually surprised that he hasn't played Batman sooner. Like the first time he ever gets his crack at Batman is in Lego form, but he does a really great job with the voice, and they really do poke fun of Batman a lot throughout his entire film career. And they make several references to all the live action movies. They make references to the Tim Burton movies, the Joel Schumacher ones, the Dark Knight trilogy, Batman vs. Superman, but I think the biggest era that they poke fun of is the 60s Adam West series. The main area where they pay homage to the 60s Batman is mainly because that this movie is more of a comedy, just in the way the 1960s show was a comedy, and there is one scene in particular that anybody would recognize from the Adam West show. So the movie is pretty much a big ball of Batman movie fan service, which isn't exactly a bad thing, because the story itself actually was somewhat compelling. Even though this is a parody of Batman and an animated Lego movie at that, it does touch upon something that I didn't really see many of the other Batman movies touch upon, which is the fact that Batman is kind of a loner, and it goes into the theme of why he doesn't really work with others and why he mainly works on his own, which I thought was really good. The rest of the voice cast is great as well. Some of them are even unrecognizable. Like, I didn't recognize Zach Galifianakis as the Joker. I mean, I've seen his name on the trailers that he was going to play the Joker, but his voice work as the Joker is not even recognizable. And he does a really good job. And this Joker's look, even though it's Lego and it's supposed to be cute, the sharp teeth really creep me out. So, no, I got nothing else. It creeps me out. I also really loved Michael Cera as Robin. He pretty much is like Benny, the spaceman from the Lego movie, except a little less crazy and more innocent. And I also really like how they took the design of the Robin from the Dark Knight Returns comic book. Again, another reference to the history of Batman. Not so much in the movies, but the books this time around. And he was a lot of fun. My favorite character, though, was probably Alfred, because Ralph Fiennes as Alfred in this movie is pretty much like Michael Caine as Scrooge in A Muppet Christmas Carol. He plays the role with a straight face and on a serious tone. I mean, he does have some funny moments here and there, but compared to everyone else, he's the least cartoonish voice actor in the whole movie. He's the one who's pretty much playing the straight man. And in that sense, his performance was actually funnier than most of the other characters. If I had one nitpick about having Ralph Fiennes in this movie, it's that there's another character that pops up in this movie that Ralph Fiennes would have been perfect to voice. I'm not going to say who that character is, but once you see the movie, you'll go, oh, okay, I get why you say that. But that's just a nitpick. My grade's not going to go down a few points just because of that. The writing is top notch. It's very sharp with the one-liners, the jokes. It just constantly throws jokes at you, and a lot of them are very effective. Not as effective as in the Lego movie, and the way the script isn't as clever as the Lego movie because it is pretty much a Lego superhero movie, so you kind of go through some of the superhero tropes, but it's still really well done. I did have some problems though. One of them is the fact that this does play out more like a superhero movie than the Lego movie did. So it might not be as appealing to most people as the Lego movie was, but that's just a suggestion. I can't speak for anyone else but me. I also had an issue with the theme of the movie. While it is a really good message and they really do a good job with it, they kind of stretch it out for a majority of the movie. There are several points where they just kind of bash you over the head with it. There was just a point in the movie where I was like, okay, I get it. Can we just move on to some action or some jokes, please? Because I get what you guys are trying to do, but you're really driving the message home to the point where it's irritating. And speaking of irritating, admittedly, there were a few points, mainly when we got to the third act, where Will Arnett's Batman did start to get on my nerves, mainly because of his egotistical, I'm great at everything, I don't need anyone else attitude. Honestly, it kind of reminded me of Donald Trump. I really hate that I have to say that, but his egotistical attitude, it just had a few Trumpisms going around. But I would be lying if I said Will Arnett did not make me laugh as Batman. It's just little sections near the third act where his egotistical attitude started to get annoying. But on the whole, I still really like him as Batman, and I really like this movie. I didn't like it as much as I did the Lego movie, because with the Lego movie, it had the element of surprise. I expected that to be a total piece of shit. This movie was a surprise in the sense that it was better than I thought it was going to be, but this one didn't have much to prove because the Lego movie already proved that you can make Lego movies and they'll be, for lack of a better word, awesome. The Lego Batman movie is definitely worth seeing in your lifetime. It's really funny, it's clever, the voice acting's great, the animation is top notch. There are a lot of references to the past movies and some of the comics spread throughout that if you're a fan, you're gonna love it. This is one movie that I'll definitely be picking up on Blu-ray when it comes out, though I don't think it has the same rewatchability as the Lego movie did, but still, really good. And that's my review for the Lego Batman movie. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are on this movie, if and when you've seen it. And as always, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.